Hi, welcome to the second series of the MDR EVOO library. Today we have a very special guest and a member of the library, Mr. Marco Petrini, who is president of Monini USA and has been so for decades. We are very fortunate to have Monini with us today and Mr. Petrini to talk about their brand, talk about their oils. My name is David Neuman, also known affectionately as EVOO Guy. I am the olive oil professional for the Mediterranean Diet Roundtable. It's a think tank based out of Boston that is a passion project really to promote Mediterranean foods and Mediterranean lifestyle through events, consumer activities, and in this case, engaging with producers of high quality products such as Monini extra virgin olive oil. I have been a professional taster for the last 3 years, certified by the Onal School in Italy. I started my olive oil training in 2011. So I'm one of 3 American professional tasters accredited by the International Olive Council. I have also been a CEO or president of 2 olive oil brands, and that's where Mr. Petrini and I, Marco, and I interfaced for many years in our travels, having run an Italian company and a Greek company. And now I am happily semi-retired consulting and tasting olive oils. So today we're going to spend some time with Marco going through their brand, and we're going to actually taste 2 of their new harvest oils that they were kind enough to send me to sample with you live. I'd like to turn it over to Marco and have him tell us a little bit about the Monini company, their dominance, their history. I believe they just passed 100 years, but he can correct me if I'm wrong, and how he has taken the company from basically ground up in the last 20 plus years in America and what he has seen in the American market. So Marco, thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you, David, and thank you, MDR. I think this is a great project and a great group of companies that have joined and will be featured in your series. So I'm looking forward to a great conversation and just to talk a little bit more about what we both love and a lot of people love, which is extra virgin olive oil. Mm-hmm. I've been fortunate enough to be part of a company that has a long history. You just mentioned that Monini just celebrated 100 years in 2020. And even though it was a crazy year with the pandemic, we're very proud of this achievement, and at the same time we're looking forward, and in fact we'll talk about what we want to do next, because it's important to have a history and a heritage, but it's also important to have a vision for the future as this market develops. Yes. I also been fortunate to work with a family-owned business. The Monini family is like a second family to my own family. They have wonderful people working in the company, working in all the departments, and actually now the 4th generation is coming on board. So we already have the young generation involved in many aspects of the business, which is a great testament to their commitment to continuing to build the brand, which was not easy to do. Olive oil in Italy is obviously a big
tough business.
Ton of business, a lot of multinational companies we have to fight with every single day. And Monini was able to really stand out as the extra virgin olive oil expert just by being very, very careful in the selection of raw materials, getting involved with the process at all stages, doing their own blending. Mr. Monini is one of the top blenders and master taster in the entire world. He knows exactly how to create a specific profile for an oil. This is something that a lot of the big companies don't have. You know, they all started up as small and maybe family owned, and then they turned into big multinational companies in most cases. Obviously not the brands that would be featured here in your series, because you're talking to really the top of the production. So I'm very proud. We're very proud to be part of that. Also, I think Monini and Italy in particular is very just happy and fortunate to be where it is, because the biodiversity that Italy offers is unbelievable and unmatched in any other market. I'll just give you a quick example. I think consumers will understand this. Spain is by far the largest producer of oil in the world, but Italy has 3 times more cultivars or
Yes.
different types of olives cultivated in our territory, and that's because of the diversity and the microclimates that are
Yeah.
possible in Italy. You can grow olives all the way up in Lake Garda or the
Hmm.
coast of Liguria, and all the way down to Sicily and
Sicily,
the
yeah.
Apulian coast. So, and those areas produce very different olives that have different taste profiles and
Yeah.
different characteristics. And by blending them together, you create an incredible array of products.
Yeah.
Another way to explain it is like if you were an artist and you are painting a beautiful picture and you have
Hmm.
on your palette 3 colors, you're only limited to a certain amount of color variations that you can do.
Yes.
Italy allows us to have a full spectrum of colors on our palette.
Mm.
So any artist can really paint a picture with so many different
You're
graduation
right.
and different colors that will create different taste profiles. So
I, I
that's important.
I think I learned, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Italy has 600 cultivars, and there's basically 900 in the world. That was
Yes.
something from my learning, but 600 cultivars. Now, not all of those, not even half of those are probably popular, but that's still a lot of cultivars to your point. And second of all, Italy, from a geographic benefit, is that it's very long and narrow and has water on both sides of it. And the microclimate with the mountains, it's an ideal, ground zero of growing the best olives in the world. And, people ask me, what's the best olive oil? Where's the best country? What's the best cultivar? Well, that is terribly subjective. It's the same as wine. Like, what's your favorite wine? What's your favorite grape? But I have never been disappointed with the best olive oils in Italy. And there are other countries that will remain unnamed that have sent me what they thought was their best oil. And the best they could do with it was not even 25% of what Italy can do because of just what the geography allows. It's either too hot or too dry or too sandy or something. But Italy has absolutely amazing oils, and your family of products is definitely in that list. And I don't want people to think that Monini is just a grocery brand. We're going to try to dispel that myth because it is in grocery stores, but there's so many different products in the range that a consumer really has to be kind of savvy and learn, do they want an entry level oil? Do they want more of a casual oil, or do they want a really beautiful, raw oil that they pour on their food as a finishing oil? And just to remind people of the brand, if they're not familiar, this is a product we'll talk about, but this is the brand Monini, and all of them have the logo, the masthead. And as you had said, Zeffirino, who's a CEO, I think his great grandfather or grandfather who started the company was also Zeffirino Monini.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
The name, typical traditional
Yes.
way of having the name of the grandfather. So
Yes.
they skip a generation. I think Monini is a very unique case in the olive oil world because it is a quite a large company when it comes to production,
Mm-hmm.
but it's again always been committed to quality. In fact, in the U.S., for instance, we decided not to bring anything else but extra virgin olive oil. So we don't bring any pure, any light oil, which are
Mm-hmm.
kind of second grade oils compared to extra virgin, obviously.
Right. Right.
And we, it's one thing. It's very challenging because, for instance, we have one of the key product of our assortment is called Gran Fruttato. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a staple in Italy. It's growing here. It's really Mr. Monini's child that he
Mm-hmm.
really treasures because it's a product that it's not easy to make when you don't have the luxury of having a small backyard with a few olive trees, and you can get those olives. We produce almost 1 million liters of that oil every year. We
Wow.
bottle, and we need to make sure that the product is always consistent, the quality is always the same, and
Yeah.
it's much more difficult when it comes to the sourcing part because you have to buy olives from farmers and cooperatives in
Mm-hmm.
Italy in order to duplicate that taste every
Mm-hmm.
single time you make a batch, and
Mm-hmm.
that's very challenging. But that's also been I think the key feature of a company like Monini.
I visited the office and the factory in Spoleto and met with Mr. Monini and Ricardo, I guess is his managing director. Is
Yes.
that where you produce everything in that facility in Spoleto?
That's where the bottling facility is,
Okay.
the main one at least, because we have a couple more in different parts of the country. As you
Okay.
know, for instance, when you produce and you bottle DOP or IGP oils, they
Yeah.
need to be produced and bottled in the same region where the olives are grown. GP or a Downo, an Apulian DOP, they need to be produced in those regions and
Right.
bottled in those regions. So we have a
Right.
farm down in Puglia that not only we have our own olive groves and also an olive press and a
Hmm.
bottling facility where those items
I
are
understand. Just a funny note that when I was in the waiting room to meet with Mr. Monini, I looked out the window and I saw this very interesting farm across the parking lot. And I had no idea what it was, but it didn't look like any kind of crops that I'd ever seen. And it was explained to me that it's snails,
Yes.
that they grow snails right across the street, and it's a
Yeah.
big business. And I honestly, I've never eaten snails. They smell wonderful, but they look terrible. But it was a very large snail farm, and it's shows you how rural even a major corporation can be. See, the U.S. doesn't work that way. If you went and found a huge production facility or bottling facility, you would not find a cute little farm next to it. You would find maybe a gas station or a mall or something industrial, but you would never see a beautiful rural snail farm across the street.
Yeah, and this is also something that relates to the consumption of oil. In other words, uh, how many Americans growing up have seen an olive tree live in their life? I mean,
Yeah,
probably less than 10%. I mean, except if you grow up in California, and in some
right,
parts of California, you've never seen an olive tree. You're not used to it. You
right.
haven't experienced that look and also the product that comes from it. Um, Again, we're lucky. We're in most parts of Italy and Spain and Greece. This is why the Mediterranean is such a cradle. It's the cradle of olive
Hmm.
oil. I mean, there is manuscripts that trace back 2,000 years of
Yes.
people consuming oil, using oil in their diet, in other forms. Also, oil was used in different forms
Of
back
course.
in the Middle Ages, even for lighting and for
Yeah.
warming houses, for instance.
I think
And
it was also a currency. People traded it as a currency, and also it was a prize in the Olympics. They gave olive oil as a prize, so that shows you how respected it was. But it wasn't the quality that it is today. That's the
yeah,
big difference. Is it was they were perfectly fine with it being rancid, which is something that we don't have a lot of tolerance for. Um, so I wanted to ask you. You sell the brand around the world. Monini is a leading brand around the world. Um, what differences do you see here in America? I'm sure you go to the home office a lot. You talk to I guess your colleagues that run the different countries. Are the consumers accepting your level of quality here, especially the organic monocultivars that we're going to try in a few minutes, compared to a lot of the traditional grocery store olive oils that they may find in supermarkets? Given, as you just said, most consumers in America don't know what an olive tree is. They certainly don't know what olive oil is. You're kind of raising the bar. Have you found that to be a difficult endeavor?
yeah. The one thing that I have to say about the American consumer, and I have a lot of respect for what their curiosity. They're very
Hmm.
curious. They want to
Yes.
learn. They want to experience different tastes and different products, different cuisines. You can see the variety now in the U.S. I came to the U. Well, I studied here first, but then I went back to Italy. When I came back in 2000, if I have to compare 2000 to today you can see much more diversity when it comes to type of cuisines, taste profiles, and products
Hmm.
being used, and also what you find in the supermarkets. Let alone a small grocery store, but even the big stores are starting to feature products that I can find in Italy every day, and I
Right.
wasn't able to find here in 2000, but I can now.
Yeah.
So and I think one of the few positive things of the pandemic last year was that people were stuck at home and they were buying grocery and much more than usual. And they were buying products that maybe they were not familiar with. I think a lot of Americans got exposed to extra virgin olive oil and quality extra virgin olive oil during last year. and they experienced it. They tried it in different recipes. They learned from it. They figured out that they could use it in different ways. I mean, maybe people have this idea that extra virgin olive oil can only be used in salad dressing, or
Exactly.
you know, that's not true. You know, we can talk later about a couple specific things that we can do with different types. But extra virgin olive oil is so versatile and so diverse. When you use different types, you know, you should really have at least a couple bottles in your kitchen of different types, if not 3 or 4, like we do in our kitchen.
Yes.
Because we know that one is good for one particular application, the other one is better for the other application, and different uses. And that's just the beauty of it, you know. And it's something that really adds to your dish. You know, it adds flavor, it adds aroma, it adds color. Sometimes, you know, in a plain dish, you pour a beautiful, intense green oil on your plate, and it does have that little extra, benefit to your dish. So the potential uses and the fact that more quality oil is available today, that's a fact. You know, not only our brand, but many different brands are coming to this market, bringing fantastic product, and you can find them now in small, let's say, more mom and pop little stores in different parts of the country. But you can also find them in big stores, you know, in big chain stores that now have a much more diversified offering for the consumer. They understand the value of specialty oil and high-end extra virgin olive oil that adds to the not only to the beauty of the set, but also to the quality of the product in general and what people can experience.
So to your point about availability, they don't have to just go into a high-end store to find your oils. They can find you in typical grocery stores in their, you know, backyard, in their neighborhood. I don't know if you have a store locator on your website, but you certainly, consumers can network with you through contacting your website or through your social media and say, I live in, you know, Poughkeepsie. Where do I find your product?
Yes.
I'm sure you want to help them find it. And I know for a fact, you know where the oils are, but it's, you know, with over 20,000 retail doors, it's tricky to keep up with the distribution.
It's a big country, and that's one of the challenges of working here and trying to develop a brand where the geography is so spread out. But we do work with great partners. We have great distributors and great retailers that we partner with. As you said, also now online buying is so popular. You can find, we have a beautiful store on Amazon that, you know, people can go in and check and find all our products. We do sell on our own website. We do have a store locator, by the way, which is very good, very well done. It lists not only the store, but also the item that you will find in that. We try to update it regularly, but we're just still in the growing phases, and we are still trying to establish Monini as a go-to brand when it comes to high quality extra virgin olive oil. We have everything from single varietal or monocultivars to a product like the Amabile that you showed before, which is more of a blend of different Italian cultivars that are created specifically for certain uses, and then other products for other uses. So I think we can offer a vast variety, and we're still growing. So the market is definitely still growing. The specialty oils are becoming more and more popular. Yes, the national brands are out there and they're strong, and there's room for everyone. I think everybody serves a purpose to educate the consumer about the usage of good quality extra virgin olive oil.
So two things came up while you were chatting with me. One is I follow your Facebook, and there's always recipes on there. And I don't know if you have a PR agency here or in Italy, but the recipes are fantastic. And for people that don't know how to use olive oil, like Mark was saying, don't just use it in salad dressing or make mayonnaise with it. The Facebook posts or Instagram that they put up are extremely helpful. They have recipes. I use them, and it really has enhanced my cooking. Daniela, from the founder of MDR, asked us just now on the screen, have we seen any changes? Have you seen any changes in consumer behavior during the pandemic? Have you seen your sales change? Have you seen customers writing What have you said, because you introduced the fact that the pandemic has opened people to more cooking. Have you noticed any behavioral changes in using more oil? Or
Yes, definitely. There's been more consumption during the pandemic here. I think this year is going to be crucial. What happens after the pandemic? So, how many consumers and people that have tried different products during the pandemic because maybe they couldn't find their usual brand because it was out of stock or because it was it's just a crazy time where people were buying more groceries to be
right,
knowing that they would be at home most of the time. I think now it's going to be the real test for olive oil to see if consumers not only have tried those products, but once they try a better product, are they going to stay with that product? Are they
I
going to
agree.
be more willing to spend maybe that extra dollar or couple dollars for the bottle and have a better tasting product? Now again, some products can be used in different ways, so there's no need to buy a $40 olive oil bottle to saute or to fry something.
No.
Okay.
No.
Actually, you're misusing the product. You're using it for a
Yes.
purpose that is not really the right one.
Right.
So I think it's going to come down to continuing to educate people. We try to do that on our products. We have neck hangers. We have labels that show the product. We tell people what to look for as far as the taste, especially the monocultivars, which are very high end. We have a little piece on the bottle that explains not only what to look for, but also what uses are recommended for that product. I think that's a really nice little something that helps consumer right at the point of sale and say, okay, if I want to make a dish with this product, I know what to expect. I know what it's going to give me and what's going to add to the taste profile of my dish.
And also, I want to taste some oils with you, but I do want people to know that you are also available in places, I think, like Chef's Warehouse, where they can go in and get either better pricing or larger sizes, as well as I think the Chef Warehouse has a website. So you don't have to just go to a fancy shop or expect to be paying more. You can also find Monini for restaurants. You've really covered the range from, single homes that want to have a high-end oil on the table to chefs that want to cook with it. And I've actually been with your team and have been in restaurants, very, very good restaurants that have used the Monini oil in their dishes and on the tables. And it really, that you have closed the circle in the olive oil world, not just making the oils available to consumers, but to restaurateurs and to food service, which I think is what we need in America. We have to consume more oil, and it can't just happen on the dining table.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to recreate that consumer experience or that restaurant experience at home, you need to have good ingredients. And we've been fortunate to have been a partner with Chef's Warehouse for many, many years. They've grown into a huge company that services many different markets. And we're very happy and proud to be associated with a lot of top chefs in the nation where they use our product for, the consistency of our originale, which is our main line, is such that restaurateurs and chefs can really rely on it day in and day out when they make a recipe that they want to be consistent.
Of course. I want to try the two oils, and we're going to start so people understand with the Amabile, which Marco will talk about. And while he's telling us about it, I'm going to warm it up in the traditional blue glass, which is the official tasting glass with a little watch lid, which is how we warm up and smell and taste the oils. This is a delicate oil, and when you're tasting oils, as a tip, you want to start with, if you can, the most delicate oils. In some cases, you don't know what it is. If, for instance, as a taster, usually my samples are blind. But I hope that when I'm presented samples, that the people that are presenting them know not to give me the strongest oil first, because it could corrupt my palate. So this is the delicate oil that they recently launched. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this item in particular as I warm it up and taste it?
So this is the complement of our Selezione Italiana range, which includes the Gran Fruttato and the Amabile. So the Gran Fruttato has always been, again, as I said before, the bread and butter of our company, Mr. Monini's child, and the product that is a little bit more intense and rich and flavorful. So we said, why don't we add an item that is kind of the opposite side of it? So it's still an extra virgin olive oil sourced from Italian regions from the north to the south. There's a little bit of Tuscan oil in there. There's some Umbrian oil. There's some oil from Calabria and some from Sicily as well. But when they all come together, they create a really nice and balanced and gentle taste. Amabile in Italian is the similar word to gentle in English. So it's a gentle oil, it's a balanced and versatile oil. It can be used in many different preparations. It can be used in cooking as well as finishing dishes. So it can be, for instance, on a nice fresh fillet of fish, of grouper, or maybe a nice skewer of shrimp or prawns. You just pour this oil on top, and it's not going to be overwhelming, but at the same time, it's going to give that taste profile that's going to enhance that dish. It's still green and a little grassy, but not to the extent of a Gran Fruttato or a more spicy oil. It's a very balanced oil for multiple uses.
Yeah, it's nicely fruity in my nose, which gives me the sign that it's fresh and has some nice, fresh grass notes, some vegetal notes. On my tongue, it's not bitter, which is nice because it means it's not going to conflict with the foods that I'm eating with it, but it still delivers a pretty interesting pungency. If you notice, it caught me a little bit by surprise. It's got a nice pungency, which is a sign of it's well produced. It is balanced.
Yes, every oil, every extra virgin olive oil needs to have that little pungency, because that means that the olives were very healthy to start with, and they were processed in the right way. And that pungency actually is an indicator of polyphenols content. So, compounds that really help the olives stay healthy and also help the body stay healthy.
Help us stay healthy.
Those are good. Right. Those are good properties.
And that's a really important point, Marco. And I don't want it to get lost as we running short on time. But I want people to realize that if you learn to taste oil, and if you join me weekly on Tuesdays for these series, you're going to watch me taste, and I'm going to get deeper and deeper into how to show you how to taste. But you have to taste your olive oil. You have to taste the bottles you have at home today. You have to taste oils that you buy at the store before you use them liberally. And if they aren't delivering that fruitiness, some bitterness, and that pungency that Marco talks about, which is so important in the back of your throat, that oil is probably not what you had hoped it would be, and it may not be what you want to use. So it's really important to learn how to taste, and we'll talk about that more in another series, but I do want to get to his other oil, which is far more complex. It's a Cortina organic monocultivar, which I was lucky enough to help them launch in 2018. It's a limited production. The bottles have numbers. The bottles are numbered. They have the harvest dates, the best before dates. They're certified organic. It's a beautiful package, a beautiful product. In our house, we always have this bottle in our house, but it is aggressive. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that while I do my taste?
Yes, and this is part of a group of 3 items. We have 3 products that are monocultivars or obtained with only one type of cultivar. Coratina is obviously a very special oil. We have Nocellara from Sicily, Coratina is from Puglia, and then Frantoio is from Umbria or Tuscany, one of the 2 regions which that cultivar is very popular in and widespread. Well, Coratina is a challenge, because Coratina by itself, a lot of producers are afraid of packing, because the intensity there is very, very high in 3 different categories: bitterness, fruitiness, and pungency. So you have those 3 things that are very, very high in the scale, and sometimes too intense. So you have to find the right balance, the right batch to be able to make that product. This is a great finishing oil, obviously, an oil that should not be used for cooking of any type. But for instance, we're heading into the summer months and the warmer months. If you have a beautiful and a good farmer's market in your area, go pick out the best vegetables you can find, the best radishes, the best fennel, tomatoes, and carrots, and just make little slices of them or pieces. We call it pinzimonio in Italy. It's like crudité. It's something that you would do at home with your family, where you sit around the table. You have a beautiful bowl in the middle with all those vegetables, and you have a little bowl of this oil of Coratina, where you can dip your vegetables in, and it will give you an incredible incredible variety of flavors and aromas that will match the flavors of the something as subtle as green fresh vegetables can become very interesting with with a special oil like this one.
And as a tip to folks watching, if you can smell the oil from your chin, as I'm doing here, if you can pick up the aroma, that usually means it's intense. It's over a 6 of fruitiness out of a scale of 10. If you have to bring the glass to your nose, that means it's a medium fruity, between a 3 and a 6. And if you have to put your nose all the way in the cup to perceive a fruitiness, then it's a mild. And there's nothing wrong with a mild, medium, or intense. As Marco started in our conversation, there are hundreds of different cultivars, and each one delivers a different experience. But on this one, a Cortina monocultivar means it's one type of olive. It's like one note. It would be like in a musician, Eric Clapton just playing the guitar, which is wonderful. But in a mobile, it's more like a symphony, where all of the different instruments are playing together in a harmonious way and creating a sound that's a band sound. And those are the differences. Not one is better than the other. I absolutely adore these oils. I adore the line. And I want to ask you in closing, what's next? What is Monini working on? What can you tell us that people may or may not know about that you can divulge that's going to be interesting, given it's a 100-year-old company? You don't have 100 years left, but you personally don't. Monini will. But what do you want to get done? What does Monini want to get done in the next few years?
Well, we already have a plan. We announced the plan last year for the next 10 years. Again, looking back at 100 years, but also looking ahead of what we're going to do next. And Monini is getting involved in all different aspects of the business. You know, we are pledging, and we already started planting. In the next 10 years, we're planting 1 million trees, 1 million olive trees in different parts of Italy. It's going to be mostly organic production, and in areas that will help the environment as well as the local farmers and the local economy grow. So I think that's a big thing. And also, you know, by doing that, you know, we estimated that about 1 million trees are going to save about 50,000 tons of CO2 from the air, because the trees will absorb the CO2 and recycle it through the trees. So that's an important part when it comes to the farming side of Monini. Then we will continue to be very, very active in our quality certification process. We already have a few of the most important certifying bodies in the world certify our products. We're going to add traceability. Soon you will see a QR code on most of our products that will, by scanning it, you can go back and actually find out where that product was coming from, you know, where the olives were grown and where they were harvested. And then lastly, we do a lot to support the scientific community as well. Monini sponsors programs in very important cancer research institutes in Italy to promote the use of oil in diets that are then obviously given to people that have whether it's cardiovascular diseases or cancer treatment or skin treatment. I mean, olive oil is such a versatile product that not only is great for your table and for your, but also can be very important in a balanced diet for people that are struggling with some health issues.
It's amazing. I am so excited. I'll be around for 10 more years in this industry. I love it. I know you will be in some way. And I look forward to all of these products. I want to thank you, Marco, for spending some time with us, for participating in the MDR EVOO library. I want to thank Daniela Poligi for founding the Mediterranean Diet Roundtable as a passion project, because it's not her real job, it's her love. And I'm very happy to partner with her on the olive oil side. We can go to monini.com to get more information on the brand and the history. We can go to the mdrproject.com to learn more about the Mediterranean Diet Roundtable. And then don't forget about me, EVOO Guy, EVOOGUY, EVOOGuy.com. Can't find out where my letter is. And I'll be launching a book at the end of the year, publishing a book at the end of the year on quality olive oil that will be consumer focused and answer a lot of the long age questions that people have had about olive oil. Monini is in my book. So I want to thank Marco for being here. Feel free to write them some questions, or to write me questions, or tag us on social media. And you haven't seen the last of Monini. 25 years, I think, Marco, you've spent so far. It's a testament to your commitment to America, to the industry, and to the brand Monini. And I hold very few people in as high regard as I hold you. You're one of my star chamber guys.
I do appreciate it, and I thank you for your passion, David. What you do for what we all love, and also I want to thank the MDR for putting this together, and everyone else for watching. And anything we can answer, please let us know.
Thank you very much, Marco. And we'll see you next Tuesday with another great producer. I believe the same time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Check back with us. And if you didn't get to watch this live, you're probably watching the replay, as thousands of people have. Thanks again, Marco, and to the MDR. We'll see you next week.